Hey guys, so today I wanted to make a video on the updated Rebug 4.75.1 firmware that just got released on the 24th, so just 3 days ago. I do have to bring this up to everyone's attention. The Rebug team that makes the firmware is in desperate need of donations. The hardware they use and everything that they need to actually make the firmware, as well as their time, resources, web hosting, everything like that requires money. So these guys put a lot of time and effort into what they do. In the description below, I'll have a link to their donation page, so you guys can go and donate whatever you can to their team. Otherwise, probably the Rebug firmware, which is the best firmware for jailbroken PS3s, is most likely going to die. So keep that in mind as you watch this video. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to the tutorial here. So in order to update your jailbroken PS3, you're going to need, obviously, your jailbroken console. Your console does need to be jailbroken, or it needs to be on 3.55 original firmware. This is not going to work on stock consoles, so please don't ask. You're going to need a computer. You're going to need your PS3 controller, and you're going to need a USB flash drive. So first off, we'll go to the computer and download all the files that we need, and then we'll move over to the PS3. Alright, so over on your computer, go ahead and download all of these files. Now, if you've followed my previous tutorial on Rebug, on how to install Rebug 4.70.1, the only file here that you need is the Rebug 4.75.1 file here. You can just go ahead and download that one and install it like you would normally. But if you've never toggle QA'd your console or haven't ever used Rebug firmware, go ahead and just keep watching and following along. And I'll show you everything you need to do to get your console up and running on Rebug 4.75.1. Now, if your console is on Rebug, or on any DEX console, excuse me, you can download this Rebug 4.75.1 DEX firmware and just install it over your current firmware. Additionally, you can use the Rebug 4.75.1 DEX file at the end of the video if you end up wanting to switch your console to DEX. This is not required, but some people prefer to use the actual DEX firmware instead of just the CEX converted to DEX. So after you have got all these files downloaded, you'll need to use 7-zip or WinRAR. I personally use 7-zip, as you guys know, so this link will be there if you need to download 7-zip. After you have downloaded everything here, obviously except for the DEX file, go ahead and plug in your flash drive and format it as FAT32. So open up your flash drive here, right click on it, format it, make sure it's set as FAT32, start it, click OK. After that's formatted, go ahead and open up your flash drive and make sure to extract these 3 zip files here. Now, after you've extracted those, you'll end up with these folders here. The Rogero Downgrader, the Rebug 4.75.1 REX, and the PS3 updat.pup, as well as the toggle QA PKG. Now, first off, on your flash drive, create a folder called PS3. In that folder, create another folder called Update, all in uppercase. Open that up and drag this file in here. While that's copying, open up the Rebug 4.75.1 folder, and here you'll have the md5.exe application. Go ahead and open that up, and then open up this md5.txt file, copy this, paste it in here, and then copy this file path here and browse to it. Or actually, it's right there. Go ahead and open that up and make sure the MD5 matches. If it doesn't match, re-download the file and try again. So make sure it says the code matches here. If it does, you're good to go. After you have done that, copy this onto the PS3 update folder on your flash drive. Close this one out and do the same thing you just did with the Rogero Downgrader. So open up the md5.exe file, paste the md5 code in there, then browse to the Rogero Downgrader RSOD. Make sure the code matches there as well, and then copy this one over to the flash drive as well. Now while that's transferring, go ahead and go back to the root of the flash drive here and copy the toggle QA PKG file. Then just wait for everything to transfer, and then we'll have to rename a couple of files here really quick. Alright, so after that's done transferring, go into the PS3 folder, the update folder, and rename this PS3 updat.pup. You don't have to uppercase the letters, but I prefer it this way. Rename it to PS3 updat KMEAW 3.55.pup, and then rename the 3.55 Rogero Downgrader RSOD.pup to PS3 updat.pup. This can be uppercase, lowercase, it doesn't matter. Although I have heard that sometimes it doesn't work if it's not uppercase. So we'll just go ahead and do uppercase there. Now, after that's done, you can right click on your flash drive and eject it, and we'll go over to the PS3. Alright, now go ahead and turn on your PS3. Now this is my personal console that's running Rebug 4.7.1 CEX custom firmware. So I've already toggle QA'd this console, but I'll go ahead and do it again just to show you guys the whole process. So go ahead and get your flash drive and plug it into the rightmost USB port. Make sure there's no disks in the drive. Then go over to Settings, System Update, Update via Storage Media, and you'll get this 3.55 PS3 UPDAT.PUP. Go ahead and load that. Yours might say Rogero Downgrader. Mine just says 3.55 because that's what it's detecting the firmware as. So just install it, let it run. This is going to take a few minutes, so be patient. And then after it's done installing, you should be on Rogero 3.55 Downgrader. So after your console boots back up, as mentioned previously, you should be on the Rogero Downgrader. Go ahead and go to the Install Package Files section and install Toggle QA, which should be on the root of the flash drive. Install that, and now make sure there's no disks in the drive or anything like that, and select Toggle QA. At this point, your console should beep 3 times. If you get 3 beeps, the Toggle QA was successful and your console should reboot. Sometimes you do have to do it twice or even 3 times. To make sure it actually went through, go down to the network settings, hover over it, and press L1, L2, R1, R2, both sticks down and down on the D-pad all at the same time. Now there, as you can tell, it's not working for me, so I'll have to toggle QA one more time. After you've done that, go ahead and try it out one more time. That again is L1, L2, R1, R2, both sticks and down on the D-pad. There, if you get the EDY viewer, debug settings, and install package files, your console was successfully toggle QA'd. Go into the debug settings and make sure system update debug is set to on. After you've made sure that's set to on, turn the console off. And now we need to go to the computer and rename some files. Alright, so now on your computer, get your flash drive and plug it in. Open up the contents of the flash drive, go into the PS3 folder, the update folder, and rename the PS3 UPDAT.PUP to PS3 UPDAT Rogero Downgrader.PUP, and then rename the PS3 UPDAT KMEAW 3.55.pup to just PS3 UPDAT.pup, and then eject the flash drive, and we'll go back to the PS3. Alright, now go ahead and turn on your PS3 once again and get your flash drive and plug it into the rightmost USB port. Now your console will boot up to Zero 3.55 Downgrader once again. But since the console is toggle QA'd now, we can go ahead and update to 3.55 custom firmware. Now, on my previous video, there was quite a few of you that had troubles with toggle QA. Like I mentioned previously, if it doesn't take the first time, try it 2 or even 3 times, and that should get you the settings here. So if you for some reason don't get this, or your console doesn't beep 3 times, then either you have a bad Blu-ray drive, your USB port is faulty, or you might have to try a different USB flash drive for this process. But typically it's either a bad Blu-ray drive or the toggle QA just didn't take and you just have to do it twice. But after you have done that, go ahead and go to Settings, System Update, and Update via Storage Media. And once again you'll get the 3.55 PS3 UPDAT.pup. Go ahead and install that. And once again, this takes a few minutes, so be patient and just wait for the update to complete. Alright, so once your console turns back on, you should be on KMEAW's 3.55 custom firmware. At this point, we need to unplug the flash drive from the console and go back to the computer and rename the Rebug update file. Okay, so go ahead and plug in your flash drive to your computer here. Open it up. Go into the PS3 folder, the update folder, and rename this one to PS3 UPDAT KMEAW 3.55.pup, and then rename the Rebug 4.75.1 REX PS3 UPDAT.pup to just PS3 UPDAT.pup, and then eject the flash drive, and we'll go back to the PS3. Once again, turn on your PS3. And plug in your flash drive to the rightmost USB port. Now go all the way to Settings, System Update, and Update via Storage Media once again. At this time you should see 4.75.1 PS3 UPDAT.pup. Click on it and just let it update once again. Alright, once your console is back on, you should be on Rebug 4.75.1. To verify, go into the system settings and system info, and you should see there your version as 4.75. Now, if you would like to convert your console to DEX, go ahead and keep watching. If you're fine with CEX firmware, then that's it for the tutorial. You will want to delete toggle QA, as you probably won't use it ever again. So to change over to DEX, go to Install Package Files, or to the Package Manager here. Install Package Files, select PS3 System Storage, and install Rebug Toolbox 2.2.5.pkg. If you have a previous version installed, you'll get this message. Just go ahead and override it. And then go ahead and launch Rebug Toolbox. Once you have Rebug Toolbox up, go over to the Utilities section and then go down to where it says Dump EID Root Key. Go ahead and press X on that. Make sure there's no disks in your drive before you do this. You'll get this message, and then your console will beep 3 times. Your console will then reboot. Now at this point, go back to Rebug Toolbox. Once it's loaded, go to this DEX/CEX icon. And to switch over to DEX, first off, you'll want to rewrite the target ID in Flash. Select yes. And then you will want to swap the LV2 kernel. This will make your console switch to DEX, and then it'll reboot. After your console is loaded back up, to verify that you are on DEX firmware, go back into Rebug Toolbox. And click on System Information. There you'll be able to see your LV2 kernel and your target type, and they both should be set to DEX. Now, if you ever want to switch back to CEX custom firmware, go to the DEX/CEX icon, and all you have to do is rewrite the target ID in Flash. This will switch to CEX, and then it'll reboot the console once again. So that's it. Now if you want to switch back to DEX for whatever reason, open up Rebug Toolbox once again, swap the target ID and then change the target ID and then swap the LV2 kernel, and you'll be on DEX firmware once again. And that's it for the Rebug 4.75.1 tutorial. Again, if you guys like this firmware, please go and donate to the Rebug team. They once again desperately need help. Otherwise, the firmware is probably gonna die. But in regards to the video, if you guys liked it, found it helpful, informative, anything like that, please remember to like, comment, favorite, or share. Consider subscribing as well, as I'll be making the online tutorials for Rebug 4.75.1 shortly. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.